Our candidate, Ann Grossi.
I just want to thank everyone for coming here tonight. I thank my husband and my daughter, but they're both home with the flu. So, yeah, my daughter's had it for a whole week. It's been real fun. And now my husband got it the other night, so they're in bed. For a long time, I was interested in the county clerk's position. I love being a freeholder. I think it's a great honor to work for the people of Morris County as a freeholder. But for a very long time, like I said, I was always interested in the clerk's position. And I was shocked when Joan decided to retire because she had indicated that she was running, and we were all geared up to run on one big happy ticket all together. And then she changed her mind, which kind of had me change gears because this opportunity doesn't come along very often, and I would never run against anyone who was sitting in that office. And so the time was right for me to make this move, and I was encouraged by so many people to do it as well. You know, I've been on the Freeholder Board for 3 years now, and most of you know me as a freeholder. And many of you know me as an attorney. But that in and of itself doesn't really qualify you to be a freeholder, and to be a clerk. And what I would like you to do, I know that you all support me, but what I would like you to do is get to know why I am the best qualified person for the job. And when you go out and people ask you, who should they vote for? And you say Ann Grossi, I want you to be able to say it because you know who I am and you know what my qualifications are. This is a little different from being a freeholder. It's a little different from being on the council, which I was on for 5 years in Parsippany. But it gives me great insight into the mechanics of both municipal government and county government. But before I became an attorney, I worked for many years for the state of New Jersey. I worked as the chief of enforcement in the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety. I was in charge of a staff of over 100 employees, both professional and clerical and support staff. As chief of enforcement, I was over 5 regional offices from Paterson, Newark, all the way down to Atlantic City and Camden, as well as 3 satellite offices, one of which at the time was in Morristown. It was a great honor to work in that position. I was in charge of enforcement. I wrote the manual on how to standardize what the investigators did and how they went out and did it. I represented the management in all management and labor. I did speaking, public speaking for the department that I was in. I streamlined and implemented a reorganization plan. I cut in the first 7 months of my tenure as chief the case log, the backlog. I had the backlog cleaned up, and I also lowered the time in which cases were investigated to less than 7 months, which is a phenomenal thing if you know how government works when they have to investigate things. I also ensured a rapid charge processing. I provided training. We did fact-finding conferences, and we speeded up the way in which all of those cases were handled. I was involved, obviously, in personnel. I was involved in the budget process. We were one of the few agencies that actually produced revenue because we had work-sharing agreements with the federal government. And so every case that was done, the state received a stipend from the federal government. We had to meet substantial case management processes to meet the requirements for the federal government to get paid, and we did that as well. After I worked in the Bureau of Securities, And actually, I'm published in securities law, which is a shock to me because my area is really labor and employment. But I'm not published in that. I'm published in securities law, which I have to say is a kind of law that you just can't learn by reading a book. You have to actually do it. I was involved with the Bob Brennan case with First Securities, which I'm very proud of that. I also worked for a major labor organization as their associate executive director. And I did all things dealing with labor from my post as associate executive director. I understand civil service rules and regulations. I'm currently general counsel to several boards in Morris County, and most of the issues that we have deal with labor and employment and civil service, of course. So I am eminently qualified for this job. It's an administrative job, and I've been an administrator, and I've been an administrator over an enormous number of people, a huge budget, and statewide activities. So this is going to be actually easier in some ways because I won't be traveling throughout the whole state of New Jersey. I can just be in one place. I also, when I was chief of enforcement, I decided to go to law school. So I was 36 years old when I went to law school. I worked full-time, and I went to school at night. I went to Seton Hall. It was the perfect place for me to go because the state building at that time was at 1100 Raymond Boulevard, and we were right across the street. So it was great. I had my parking in the indoor garage, and I just had to walk across the street. But it was 4 years at night, and I worked full-time during that whole period. I also worked in a boutique law firm in Newark that did labor representing management, which was a unique experience that I will always cherish. And now I am out on my own, in my own practice. So having said all of this, I just want you to know that when you go out there and you tell somebody that you're supporting me, that you have the background to be able to tell people why you're supporting me and why you think I'm the most qualified person for the job. And I want to thank you all for coming. But before I do, I have to talk about Joan a little bit because Joan has done an absolutely outstanding job as county clerk. And I have big shoes to follow. And if I can do half the job that she's doing, then I'm going to consider myself very lucky. But Joan, I'd like you to come up here for a second. I would like to present these flowers to you for all your years of service and for everything you've done for me.
Thank you.
Do you want to say a few words?
I just want to thank Ann. I really enjoyed being county clerk. I enjoyed being freeholder, and I'm sure that Ann will do a great job as the county clerk here in Morris County, and I thank her so much for this honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joan. And I want to know, did you think I could have made my sign any bigger? I know I want people to see that and know that I'll be watching everyone as they go into the booth when they pull the button. But I also want to close by saying that I am having a website come up. My website address is www.anngrossi.com, which I think is very easy to remember. It'll be up and running soon. And also, if you haven't signed my petition, there's one on the front desk. Please sign it. And also, I think, Dick, you're passing around one for the governor, so please sign that one too. And again, and I'd like to say that Mayor Barbario is here.
I wasn't waiting for this. Hey.
So with that, get up, talk, mingle with everybody, and I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support.